Hey guys, this video we're going to do this week is called It's About Change and Growth. Um, Maybe help us get some ideas on how to accept change, even though we don't want to. I will tell you it's true. I'm 60 and I'm not always all that crazy about change. One thing I just learned was about my food choice. I grew up, my dad had this gigantical garden, and there was always enough vegetables in there to get us through an entire year. My mom froze vegetables, we did it together, and I was just used to that. We never had canned vegetables at home. And the couple of times I tried it, it just tasted like metal, and I didn't like it. So I've never tried canned vegetables since. It's been years. And my youngest son's girlfriend, over, I think it was Mother's Day weekend, I was still kind of secluded in the house, and she brought me a dinner plate. And they were the most amazing green beans. And I texted her, I said, "What is your recipe?" Come to find out, they were out of a can. So they just made so many new changes and whatever. And, that's an example of me not wanting to change things. I was used to fresh. Everything else tasted terrible, and I just wasn't going to do it. Um, and so, yeah, I learned how to make a change and be happy with it. But we all go through changes. The areas I'm going to touch on are 4 different areas. There's probably more areas where you have to go through change and become accustomed to it. And it's really hard to do. But anyway, those 4 areas, we're going to talk about changes that we have to make at the home, changes in relationships, relationship status, um, changes to have to do with our children, and changes that we have to face at our work. Um, Hopefully, this will give you some suggestions or ideas, things that you can think about. Um, Before we go on through the video, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you all what the homework assignment is. So during the video, as you're listening and watching, you may come up with some things to help you with this homework assignment. But anyway, the homework assignment this week is I want you to talk about a change that's going on in your life right now. Um, it doesn't have to be great big paragraph. This one might, this homework assignment might mean that you have to maybe 4 or 5 sentences, maybe a small paragraph, just to get you to think about what's going on in your life, any kind of major changes you're going through, how you feel about making that change, maybe some ideas that you've learned on the video that you might incorporate to help you through that. But anyway, it's just some thinking that you can do while we go through the videos. Let's see here. Let's just go ahead and get started. What do y'all think? I'm going with the book on some of it, and it says one of the main parts of nurture parenting, which we've been learning to do, things to help our children, to nurture our children, so they become amazing adults, things that we can do with them all, through everything. And these are changes, growth, letting go. Those are some things that we can teach our kids. My eyes bugging me to death. Things they can, we've learned a lot about how kids mainly learn through role modeling. Things that we do, you might want to, if you're going through a change, like at home, that's the first area we're going to discuss. Maybe you have to move for work or family. Maybe you've gotten into a new relationship and it's involving moving. And these are things that you can role model for your kids. They may be upset about the change themselves. Kids, they do get used to change a lot easier than we do, but there's a lot of changes that affect them as well. And all of these areas, and involve our children to help them make a change. And you might want to role model that, not by doing like, I don't know why we have to do this, and I don't want to, and this is ridiculous. And try to say something like, we're having to move because maybe you need a place that has lower rent. And explain to them, you're going to make new friends here. You might, if you have to relocate schools, it's a brand new school, and try to get them excited about the change. Work with them, but be prepared. They're not always gonna be ready for changes, especially if it affects their lives. They're used to routine just like you are. And then when they have to do something new, and some things they may have a harder time getting used to doing. So just be there for them and be understanding, be patient, help them through these changes. But anyway, in Nurture Parenting, it says that we have to have the willingness to examine our thoughts, our feelings, our actions on a daily basis, making sure that those actions are respectful to yourself, to others, to the environment. That really didn't tell us a lot, did it? But anyway, it does say, after all of that reading, that one of the things is to be open to change, willing to accept the change. And let's just go on into some of the things that the book talks about, and then we'll start working on my areas. But one of the things that it talks about in the book is that our bodies, and I know you've heard that, when something comes up, something we're not prepared for, your body can go through this fight or flight type thing, that you want to run away from it. It scares you so bad you don't want to deal with it. And those are one of the things. Another thing they talk about is that we get defensive. We close up. Maybe it's a change at work, and your boss says, we're going to start doing this particular thing this way instead of the old way. You might become argumentative. You may be defensive about your work, and this has always worked, and I don't know why we have to change. You might develop some of that. But the first area of change that I want to talk about is changes at home. I touched on one of them is sometimes we have to move or relocate. It could be that we want our children in a better school. And so we have to move so we can do that for them. Be ready, search around for the school. That's a change that you're going to have to get used to. When school starts back, or when school, forget that. Nothing to do with anything. But and help your children. There's so many new friends there, and you're really going to like it. Maybe they have different programs set up. Maybe they have different time schedules. Prepare yourself for that. Help prepare your child for that. Maybe in your home that you have friends or family that need to move in with you for a little while. That changes everything, doesn't it? I know last year when my oldest son and his wife and kids were waiting on, they were buying a new home, and they were moving from an apartment to the home, and there was a week layover in between. They had to not sign another lease, but yet it was going to be another week, and they moved in with me. It was great. I loved it. But there are changes, changes in cooking for more people, trying to satisfy what everybody likes to eat. There's significant changes in bathrooms. I was lucky. There's 2.5 baths here. It all worked out great. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes you have to set a schedule, tell the person or persons that have moved in, we only have one bathroom. Now there's 5 of us in the house, and we need to work out things. Cooperation with them. You know, you can't stay in the bathroom for a full hour. We all have to get ready for work. Work on those. Maybe it's better organizing that you need to do, and you really don't want to do it. You know, the old way worked, but you feel like it's time to make a change, getting ready for that, preparing for it, um, doing things like that at the home. I might think of some more things here in just a minute when we go on a little bit. The next area I wanted to talk about was relationships. Um, I don't know how many of you all are in a relationship. I know I've been in relationships in the past. I choose not to now. Um, but you know, with new relationships, it's very difficult. You're getting used to a new person. You're making sure that that new person will work out with your children, that they're not abusive, that they're caring and loving, that they want to take on the responsibility of children, you know, and along in that area. If you've decided that this relationship is going to continue and grow stronger, you may get to the point that this person wants to be able to discipline your child, and you will have to set down disciplinary rules. We don't hit in this house. We don't yell and scream at my children. Um, you know, and that's difficult. You've been the person that's done this, and now somebody else wants to come in and do this as well. And that can be hard to let go of. But they're your children. Don't ever forget that. They're yours. They don't belong to that person. You're the one who's setting up the rules. If you find them screaming at your children, mental abuse, physical abuse, tell them they got to go. If it's not a live-in relationship, just say, we're not dating anymore. The first thing I have to think about are my children, and this is not working out for them. You're going to have to speak up on stuff like this. Always put your child first in any kind of relationship. I was talking to someone, I think it's a client that I have in the Safe House. You know, his relationship with his dad was great. And then his dad remarried. He was a father that wanted a daughter and never had one. The new relationship, it was all daughters. He's absolutely, completely and totally dumped his son so that he can have a relationship with those daughters. And it's been really difficult for him. Even as an adult, it's hard, you know, to get pushed out like that. So, and your kids are going to be feeling like they've got to share you now. They're not used to that. They've had you all to themselves. And now they're finding you going out on a date. This person coming to your home and sharing a meal. You're spending more time with them in family settings. Gradually work that in. Don't just throw somebody new at your kids. When my kids were younger after the divorce and I was dating, I dated a person for a while before I felt comfortable bringing them into my children's lives. I didn't want them to have the experience of their mom having one relationship right after another. It's hard on your kids to do that. You know, date them for a few months or longer to make sure they're going to be a good fit. After, you know, you might want to explain that you're going to the babysitters tonight because mom has met someone and they want me to go on a date with them. When you come home, share the experience. And then after each date, share that experience with them. Include them in this new relationship. You know, and as that relationship advances, you're going to learn more about that person. And like I said, if you feel like they're not going to be a good match for your kids in the relationship, and you know, if things are going wonderful and 6 months down the road, your kids have met them, maybe, well, let me backtrack there. After maybe about a month, they may come to the house for a meal. That's a good time to introduce them. When that person leaves, talk to them about it. What did you think? I want your honest opinion. Um, you're a lot more valuable to me than anyone. So, however you think about this person or what you feel about them is very important to me. Do explain that, your mom and dad went through a breakup, and I am going to be seeing other people. Get them used to the idea. That I spent a lot of time on that one because it's very significant. And by all means, you're ending with a relationship or a relationship with their father or their mother doesn't mean that you can't still have a life and be in relationships. You just have to make sure that they're healthier for your child. Um, Another thing that happens that are change are breakups. Breakups happen all the time. It's a change. It takes some getting used to. Um, if you have a good friend, a family member that can help you through this change, that's beneficial. If you think that you might need therapy to help get over that break, I've told you all before, I hope I have, that we have free counseling available at the Sunshine Center. Just call and make an appointment. Angela's wonderful. She would be glad to help you through that, and they're free. They're free therapy sessions or counseling sessions, whatever you think you need. Um, maybe you're getting into a new relationship. We talked about all that with yourself, with your children, how it could be involving a move and everybody getting used to that change and being prepared for it. Um, the next area that I wanted to touch on are changes that we have with our kids and that kids may have. We've already discussed it a little bit. But the biggest change I think that I went through in my life was bringing a new baby home. My first one. And I was sort of ready for it, but actually I wasn't. I thought it was going to be this total perfection. I was going to be the perfect mom and have the perfect baby, and I knew absolutely nothing. Um, I was, people had told me things, and it's like, yeah, that was your experience. That's not going to be mine. And they would always try to prepare me for no sleep. And I thought, they're exaggerating. Oh my goodness, were they so right. Getting used to your new sleep schedules, getting used to your work schedule changing, getting used to as they age, with meals, getting used to the bottles, getting used to all of it. Your lifestyle changes significantly. You're not going out and partying every night, I hope. You're spending a lot more time at home than you're used to. That's a huge change. With me, I did away with all of that. I wanted to focus my life on my child. Me and my ex-husband, we did do things without the children. We did go out and eat. So it was a huge change, but we still did some things. I advise that. A family member, a good friend to watch your children while you go out. There's nothing wrong with that. But I had to learn that it just wasn't going to happen often. So that's a big change. Bringing a baby home is huge. And you guys can all relate to that, the changes that have to be made. That's another change is watching your children grow up. They go from an infant to a toddler. You have to get ready for that change, making safety changes in your home, covering the outlets, doing this, doing that. Those are all changes we have to make. It's inconvenient, but we do it because we want our kids to be safe. But it's change, and change that we have to accept. It can also be a little depressing sometimes. You know, I can't believe they're already walking. I can't believe that they're doing this already. And what happened to my baby? And that lasts with you a lifetime. My boys are in their 30s, um, and I still am amazed at the goals that they accomplish and what they go through. So it's for life. Your kids are for life or for your life. As long as you live, they're always going to be your babies. My boys, they're okay with me calling them my babies. My 12-year-old grandsons aren't quite as happy, but I just told them they got to deal with it. And then they leave home. Um, I think a couple of you have teenagers. You know, they're going to graduate from high school. Some may be ready to go into the world at this point, and you're going to go through some significant changes on that one. I'd always heard about that leaving the nest, and my boys were older when they left. My oldest was 24 when he got married, and he had been with me all of his life. And at first it was like, dang, I could get used to this. Um, Not nearly as much cooking and this. And then I'm thinking it was maybe about a month into it, and it hit me. And it hit me hard. And I missed him so badly. My youngest son, he was right before him, and it seems like they both hit me all at the same time. You know, one left, and then 3 or 4 months later, the other one did, and there I was. Um, and it was huge. It was a huge change for me to go through. I did talk to my counselor a little bit about it. It was very helpful. Friends that had already gone through it had suggestions and ideas for me. But you guys, it's going to happen. It's really going to happen. Another thing, a significant change that kids go through, and it has to do with relationships, new ones, are dealing with stepchildren. The person that you establish a relationship with and it's gotten serious, most of the time they're going to have kids of their own. You're going to have to prepare yourself for that. You know, what are the boundaries? What are the disciplinary boundaries? You go by what this person says. That's their child. Like I said, you have the right to put the boundaries down when it comes to discipline. Those are your rights. Well, this person has rights as well. And you're going to have to respect those rights. There may be some things that you two have to sit down and talk about. It looks like you've not disciplined your children very much. I discipline mine. They have rules, they have consequences. You know, if this is going to work, you're going to have to start doing that as well. I'm having a hard time teaching my child to share if you're not teaching your child to do anything. So you're going to have to work things out. Your kids are going to have to get used to it. Oh no, my mom or my dad has got another child now. What's this going to do to me? They're going to have so many things going through their head. They might act, well, more than likely, they're going to act out. More than likely, they aren't going to like this child or children. It takes getting accustomed to. You're really going to have to work and say, you know, they're going to be a part of our lives now. That comes with for your kids getting to know the person. You know, when they come to have a dinner and you introduce them, maybe that person comes by themselves, but maybe the next time it's good for them to bring their children and start getting the groundwork on them getting used to their kids. It's also a time for you can decide if that's a relationship with those children that you want to be involved in. If they refuse to discipline their children, if this is not going to work, that's when you say this relationship isn't going to work. By all means, do that. It's upsetting to your kids enough that they're going to have to work with stepkids. And if they're not, and if they're destroying your discipline, the rules that you've set in place, that relationship's not worth it. And just move on. I think this might be a shorter video, but the next area we're going to talk about that consists of a lot of change is work. You may lose a job, and that takes some getting used to. That's a significant change. Maybe you've been in this job for quite a while, and now you've got to go out and find another one. You're not used to doing that. When I retired, I had worked for 40 years. And when I went out and decided that full retirement was not for me, I was brand new to resumes and applying for jobs and everything being online now. And there were significant changes for me. You might find yourself in that same position. A lot of these applications are online now. Getting used to that technology if you don't already know it. Being prepared that you may have to make a full change in career. I did. It was a career that I wanted. This career, teaching, mainly case management, is my favorite part of my job, but I've gotten to where I love teaching as well. Can't wait till we can do on-site classes. I really miss those. And then you find a job and you go into a new one. Well, let's talk a little bit more about losing that job or quitting that job. And you've got significant reasons why you had to quit. And being at home when you're not used to it. Filing for unemployment if you've never done it. Going through these things, and you may have to get advice from other people. I've lost my job because of downsizing or whatever it may be. Give me some advice on staying at home. I have no clue what I'm doing here. If you're like me, I can't stand it. I get bored. I'm a social person. I'm single. I live alone. And it's like, what am I going to do with all this time? This is insane. I don't like it. And now we talk about a new job. So you've gotten fired or laid off for a reason. You've gone through all the interviewing, all that change. You found a new job. In that new job, you're going to have a different supervisor. Maybe they don't supervise like your old one did. Maybe they're stricter. Maybe they're not as strict. And you're going to have to become accustomed to that. You're going to have to, this fight or flight that we talked about, the change is happening. I don't like it. I'm going to run. Well, you can't run because you need the job. You need the money. And you're going to have to stick it out. So try to remember some of this that we're learning about today, how you can get used to that change. You're not going to be able to take it slow. You're going to have to jump right in there and do it. Try to keep an open mind. This is a better work environment. My hours are better. Maybe the pay's better. This supervisor is completely different. I'm going to have to get used to it, and I can do this. Talk to yourself in positive ways. This is a challenge, but I can do this. I can take on this challenge. I can do it. It's important for me. It's important for my family. Maybe it's a job. Maybe you've gotten into one that, like what I do now, is your dream job, and you're excited about it. There's still going to be change. There are significant, huge changes when I started doing this job. And some of them I tried to back up and say, I don't want to do that. My boss, she loves change. And since she's been my boss, she's made some major changes. And they've all been wonderful. The change to teaching on video right now, that was huge for me. And it really took me a while to get used to it. I've gotten better, but I always see where I can make change to it, make those videos better. I'm redoing many of them. because I was getting used to it. Um, you know, I had to change significantly when I was just working from home. That was huge. Um, I would like to say that I did finally get used to it, but I really didn't. I just did the best I could. I couldn't do anything about the situation, and it's a change, and you're just going to have to do it. Sometimes in life, especially with jobs, etc., with everything else we've talked about, you're just going to have to do it. Whether you like it or not, you're going to have to be a grown up and say, it's a change. Nothing I can do about it. Let's just deal with it and go on. After a while, you might start thinking, this change is much better. And that's what I've done at work. When my boss makes changes, at first it's like, okay. And then I get used to it and it's like, wow, this is so much better than what I used to do. You know, handling a situation in this way is much better than the way I handled it. Most of the time at work, this is what has happened. And, but in a new work environment, you've got brand new coworkers. Excuse me, I always get the hiccups on these. You've got brand new coworkers. Maybe their personalities are a lot different. Maybe there's some that just get on your last nerve, and people like that, I'm sorry, I never could really change. There's some of them that I didn't take off running when I saw them, but I had limited contact. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be rude. You just don't have to meet them at the water cooler and make a conversation. Be nice if they do. But you know that you've worked with coworkers before and they leave and a new one comes and you have to get used to that new person. You know, always come out as a nice person, a friendly person, welcoming, whether you want to or not. Your best friend left and this person has their job and I'm not happy about it. Well, it's not their fault. So that's one of those things you're going to have to get over it. Because your friend left is not this person's fault. If that person had to be fired, it's still not this person's fault. Welcome them to the job. Be helpful. If they need assistance, if they want help, let them know that you're the person they can go to. You know, you're familiar with the layout of the building, where the bathrooms are, if you have a cafeteria, where this is, the water cooler's at. Let them know if there's anything I can do to help you get used to us, please let me know. And in return, you may end up making a good friend. This friend might be better than the one that left. You never know. Don't start the gossiping because you don't like somebody. Don't do that. I mean, it doesn't benefit anyone. It makes this new person, you've gone to a new job, so try to imagine what it feels like when they come into a new job. How you felt. Maybe you felt isolated, or maybe the people weren't very friendly. Think of ways that things that you could have wished that would have happened to you, and you can help that person even more. I wish somebody had helped me find the bathrooms. I wish somebody had showed me where the cafeteria was so I didn't have to wander the halls. How to use the equipment in the office. You know, I had to struggle with this piece of equipment or that one. If somebody had just been helpful. So there's a really good positive way that you can look at new employees. People in your own workplace that come in as new, going to a brand new job with all new coworkers, trying to get used to that. Many of these videos are shorter. This is going to be one. I think I've covered every area that I want to. Looking at my notes, I think I've covered it all. Go through this book. There's only a few pages that they've given me. But I think I've covered everything. We're going to talk about the quiz a little bit. So we'll just go, but anyway, in class, we usually spend about 30 minutes having different conversations, turning in homework assignments and all that. And I've been trying to make these stretch out to the full hour, but there's several topics that I've just talked it half to death, and there's nothing else that I've got to say. As you know, I like to put, or for new people, I'll let them know that I like to put in extra things, extra advice, extra ideas that aren't covered in the books. This one, if you've already heard it, I apologize. I'm trying to make changes in how I keep records. So I'll be able to be better about that one. This one is about exercise. There's another video that's going to that's going to consist of nothing but healthy lifestyle, nutrition, and exercise. But this is just a little thing that I've noticed maybe with my grandchildren, or other people have given me ideas, different ways that you can get your kid to exercise. Like I said, if you guys have already heard this, I apologize. But exercise is very important. And kids learn this as they grow. Maybe they're taught at school. One of my grandchildren, he spent the weekend with me. I think he was like in the maybe kindergarten or first grade, and they were teaching yoga, and he had me doing all sorts of crazy things here at home. But kids like the yoga. They like those stances. They like the sitting. You might want to Google some things that are child age friendly with yoga. Maybe it's just doing jumping jacks and when how we used to do those windmill things, and try to find some fun stuff, and incorporate exercise into your life, and that way you can help your child learn to exercise. So at night or after school or in the morning, whenever you can plug that in, maybe 10 minutes. Mommy's going to start exercising. So how about if we try these few yoga things and teach them how to do that? Maybe it's teaching them how to run in place, or the jumping jacks or something to get them going again. Here we go with role modeling. Try to work with your kids so that they will start out every day and exercise. It's so important. Right now, I'm trying to get myself where I'm incorporating more of exercising, especially at my age. It's very important. Find something that you like. Find something that your child likes. Me, I'm a complete water fanatic. And I can't wait till the YMCA opens up again, where I can get my water aerobics back in there. It's extremely, if you have bad back, it's very good for movement for my age, and keeping my joints going. And the thing I love about water aerobics is that's very little impact at all. Instead of lifting weights, you're pushing against the water, and it's actually better for you than lifting weights. We run in place, which sounds crazy. We jog, which sounds nuts, but there's no, you're not killing your knees. You're not busting tendons. I recommend it. I highly recommend it. And if you're in need, you can talk to the Y about different scholarships they might have based on income. You might get, lower fees. For this summer, if you have a pool or if you have a friend, ask them if you can work out in their pool. If they're good friends, I'm sure they'd be glad. They might join in. You might end up with a little exercise circle. But find something that you like. Find what your kid likes to do. Experiment and see what works best. But anyway, that's all the teaching I'm going to do on this video. Now we're going to go with the quiz. I've got 4 quizzes. These are going to take some time to do. I've already given you the work assignment. I'll repeat it. Talk about, maybe in a paragraph, about a change that you're going through right now in your life, no matter what that change is. Talk about it. Talk about your fears after watching the video, if you've learned about better way to handle it. just talk a little about that. And then on the quiz, there's 4 of them. They can be lengthy. I don't expect a paragraph for each one, maybe a couple of sentences. Like number 1, name a change that people go through at home. You can make it simple. You can make it a couple of sentences. But it's, just simply name a change that happens at home or in your home life. Number 2 is the same thing, but it's name a change related to relationships. A change that you may have gone through or going through. Prefer something we've talked about so that I know that you're listening to the video. But once again, name a change that relates to relationships. Number 3, name a change that happens when you bring a new baby home. I gave some things, but you may have something different. That's fine. Actually, on all these, that's fine. You may have something that I never even thought of, and that's okay on these. So put what you want to on here. Be creative. Use your imagination. And the last one is name a change that happens with stepchildren. I'm gonna repeat all these again. Like I said, if there's ideas or changes that I haven't talked about in these areas, use your own. I just want to know that you're on target with what was being taught, that you've got a concept of it, that it's got you thinking about things a little bit. But anyway, the homework again is talk about a change that's going on in your life right now. Don't just say, I moved in a new place. It could be, I moved in a new place, and these are the changes that I'm going through. Thanks to the video and what I've learned. I learned that I'm going to handle it this way or that. A good paragraph that lets me know you're thinking about things and that you paid attention. And once again, here's the 4 things quiz. Here's the quiz again. Name a change that happens at home. Number 2, name a change that relates to relationships. Number 3, name a change that has to do with bringing a new baby. We'll leave it at that. And number 4, name a change that happens with stepchildren. Happens with getting stepchildren or the relationship with stepchildren. I think you get the point. But anyway, that ends this video. I'll talk to y'all next time.